I grew up with anime. Don't know if you watch anime. I grew up with the Chinese wuxia genre. I love telling stories in an allegorical and fantastical way. I grew up wanting to be an animator, but I was really bad at drawing. So obviously I fall in love with independent cinema. I fall in love with art house cinema from the brilliant filmmakers that you just mentioned. And so that's where I learned to work as a filmmaker. That doesn't mean that I also wanted to live my childhood dream, which is to be able to tell stories in genre movies. I was a big X-Men fan when the original X-Men came out. And then Batman, Nolan completely changed the superhero genre and then entered the MCU. I also really loved First Class, by the way. I really love that movie.
X-Men.
Yes. I love that movie so much. Yes. And then my obsession for Marvel Studios started. It started since the first Iron Man, but I got a bit fanatic about it around the time of Winter Soldier and between Winter Soldier and Civil War. I think a big part of it is human beings' relationship with nature, with our planet, with each other, and in a way ourselves. This idea of in order to heal and in order to solve some of the biggest problems or issues in the world, sometimes we need to humble ourselves. We need to remind ourselves that we're a part of something much bigger. It's not just about keep advancing. It's not just about power, humans having to live for, just all these things that we think is the most important thing in the universe. It really isn't. When we're gone, the rock will still be there, the sun will still be there. And to humble ourselves that way, I think it's important for our survival as a species. And in Eternals, I really get to visually explore a lot of these issues. But on Nomadland, for example, we do it in a way that how does one woman's grief and healing by nature and by her connection with nature is done in a very smaller, more intimate way, and this is done in a bigger, allegorical way. What is home? For these 10 heroes, they're basically immigrants from another planet and they can't go back to, right? And they're here, and now they start to, just like immigrants like myself, they start to take shape and forms of the people, of the native people of the planet. And then the film, very much, each of them, they have to sort of come to terms of who they are and where they belong and who they are in this grand plan of this God that sent them here. When I came in, there was a treatment for the story. And as you can tell, the story itself has elements from both, right? And I think the way Jack Kirby created this character initially, I found it very genius. And it's exactly that spirit is what we try to do in this film, is that he created this group of heroes completely outside of the popular heroes of the time in the comics. They exist on the peripheral initially. And it's smart because you get to take a step back and explore mythology of the Marvel world, the comics world, from scratch. You're not attached to any of these other heroes and or the themes or the obligations. So you give him a level of freedom. And that's what we were trying to do with Eternals, with the MCU after the Infinity Saga, is take a step back and see where else is there before and after, and then Neil Gaiman, I can't quite I'm not gonna do spoilers. There's ideas that he had that really triggered certain big plot points in this film. His interpretation of it, him as a brilliant storyteller, incorporated something that he saw around him at that time when he did it. I think that also went into Eternals. And then today we take both of their work, looking around the world around us and say, how do we step back this time and look at this bigger picture and all the problem we're having and tell this story? This is a bit vague, but I hope this makes sense.